I woke up this morning to a killing frost, or a hard frost, or a hard freeze. Different words for the same thing, depending on if we are more likely to notice how hard the ground has become, or are more likely to wonder how many of the tender plants in our gardens have been killed. As a grower, I like the term killing frost, even though there are very few plants left in our vegetable beds to be killed by these freezing temperatures. This first killing frost feels late in the season for me, like I've been expecting it for a while, perhaps hoping that it would come to finally put an end to the growing season. We had a lighter frost, or a grass frost, in September, almost 2 months ago, which took me by surprise as I wasn't paying attention to the weather forecasts. It was cold enough to damage the courgette or zucchini plants outside, which I failed to cover to protect their tender leaves, but not cold enough to impact the tender crops in the polytunnels. And it has been relatively warm since then, until this week when the temperature suddenly dropped and I was anticipating the beautiful frozen landscape that I woke up to this morning. This is as cold and wintry as we would usually get here in the temperate Midlands of Ireland, where the daytime temperature usually stays above freezing and most nights are not followed by a frost. Most of the plants in the gardens are hardy enough to withstand the cold temperatures that we had overnight, and even lower. Even the more tender salad crops that we are still growing under the fleece in the polytunnel, or under fleece and crop cover outside, which we use mainly to protect the tender leaves from the wind, not the cold, seem to be unaffected by these colder temperatures. The only real casualty with this killing frost was the solitary courgette plant that has been standing tall in one of the polytunnels, surviving the fungal diseases that took its neighbors months ago, and lasting a lot longer than expected. The temperatures overnight were several degrees below zero for long enough to cool down the air temperature inside this polytunnel to below freezing. I might have been able to save this courgette plant if I had covered it with fleece, but I think it was good to bring this exploration to an end. This killing frost will hopefully also end some of the pest damage that we have been seeing in some of the crops, and we can move properly into the winter, a period of rest or dormancy for a lot of the gardens, before the start of the new growth of the new season in a few months.